How's it going, everyone? It's time for another Nick at Night, the non-spoiler show, where we go over the books we picked up. This week, we're going to be talking about November 10th releases. I only got a few of them still, but we'll talk about what we got. Stay tuned. All right, everyone, welcome back. So, as always, we are going to talk about the books we picked up, non-spoiler, high-level discussion, tell you what I liked, what I didn't like, themes, concepts, but I'm not going to go over any big, major spoilers in this show. So, we're going to start with a highly anticipated book for me from Al Ewing and Ram V, Venom, #1. I went ahead and got that. I believe this is the A cover. It sure is. Went and got the A cover because it was pretty neat. I actually liked it a lot. And, you know, this is coming off of what I'm going to call an iconic run from Donny Cates on Venom. So we have a lot coming into this book, a lot on our minds. And so we didn't quite know how this execution was going to go. How is Al and Ram going to, balance the writing? And, how is Hitch and Curry and Sinclair going to handle everything? Is it going to feel like the Venom we've been reading, for the past year or two? And so I'd say yes and no. I didn't quite know if they would kind of scrap everything that Donny did real early on. I think we're kind of doing that a little bit. Eddie's the symbiote god. He's the new king in black. So, we're kind of going to this with this character who's got unlimited power. Now we have Dylan kind of with his own power sets, and he's trying to juggle, him being a kid with having the symbiote as well. So he's trying to balance everything out too. So we're kind of touching base on a lot of concepts we got in the first run from Donny. We have kind of this absent father. He's kind of everywhere, but he's not exactly where he needs to be all the time. Yet, his priorities are a little bit messed up because Null did a lot of damage across the universe. He's trying to repair that. He's trying to, build back up the name of the symbiotes because everyone kind of fears them and he's the new leader of them. So he's trying to do a lot of mending right now, but he's not really mending his family. So Dylan, he's got that absence again. He's trying to not lash out at school. So we touch base with Dylan a lot in this book. The things he's been dealing with. He's not with his symbiote right now. And so he's just kind of missing his dad, trying to go through his life right now. And it's been, fairly interesting. He's kind of picking right back up where he left off. He's a tough little kid, man. He's a tough kid. And so we also get a lot in here from Eddie. He's trying to patch up all the stuff that Null did. And we get this like immediate threat that was teased, I believe, in the Free Comic Book Day issue. And so we get to see that scene play out. We have one of his symbiotes kind of betray him, give him a warning. He doesn't quite know what to do with that warning. He doesn't know what it quite means. It's like a foreshadowing for a future event. He's not quite sure how to prepare for it. And then he kind of explores his power set a little bit more. And I won't really go into it too much more than that. But I will say that both Dylan and Eddie end up in a pretty sticky situation towards the end. And we get an interesting introduction to a new character at the end of this book. So, if you liked Donny Cates' run, I think you're going to feel the vibes in this. I don't quite think that Al and Ram, you can't really feel their voice in the writing just yet. I think I felt Ram here and there, but Al maybe not so much. So it's going to be interesting to see where this book goes. Are they going to kind of tear down everything that was set up for them? Where are they going to take this? And who's this new guy at the very end? He's got me kind of interested in knowing that. So I'm just kind of wondering, like, how is this like echelon of symbiotes work? If Null was the king in black, like the symbiote god, is there one above that? Is there one above that? Like, what's the true origin for these symbiotes? We got kind of a tease towards the end that there might be somebody else. So that's got me interested. Oversized issue, typical Marvel page quality. Interesting, lots of ads for Hulk and stuff like that in here. Not a bad read. If you liked Donny's run, pick this one up. Didn't blow me away though, which I was kind of hoping it would based on the creative team here. So we'll keep going with it, obviously, because apparently I need more Marvel in my life. Okay, moving over to DC. We have a few books from DC, some really killer ones, and then one kind of, not too great. One of the killer ones here was actually Lemire's book, Robin and Batman. I almost want to say Batman and Robin, but Robin and Batman. With the art, I'm not going to say this guy's name right. I keep on saying Nugent, but it's not right. Somebody in the comments type out like phonetically how you would say this guy's name. The artist on here, killer art. So I'm going to start with that. The art alone is spectacular in this book. Now, Dick Grayson, I don't know a whole lot about this character. I'm relatively new to Batman. There's so many Robins out there. So a lot of you are probably going to be picking this book up and not completely understanding all the Robins' backstories and whatnot. And so this is kind of another origin take in a way of, how Batman and Dick Grayson kind of didn't get off on the right start. Like, he's super eager to get out there onto the field and kind of, help Batman out wherever he can. And Batman's being overly protective. You're not ready. You didn't see that guy behind you. He keeps putting him out in like these test missions, and he keeps failing in Batman's eyes, but it's kind of his way of kind of making him aware of everything. And it's just tough love, right? And so you got to be, tough as nails to do this kind of a job. And so we have an overconfident kid. We have a slightly overprotective father figure. And so you can kind of see that dynamic play out. The art and the paneling and the coloring and the line work are just spectacular. I absolutely love it. It's a cool little twist on an origin. It doesn't bog down. It doesn't bore you. There's a lot of new, fresh stuff in here, so I absolutely love it from that perspective. If you're new to the character, for this Robin, this is a must-read in my opinion so far. So I love what they've been doing with this still. There's a lot of heart. There's a lot of touching moments towards the end. There's a lot of mischief in this book. A lot of little betrayals and lessons learned. Really, really cool start to the series. Can't wait to keep reading this book, Robin and Batman. Number 1, only 3 issues. So make sure you're on it. Another Batman book. We have Batman, the Imposter. This is issue number 2 from Tomlin, Sorrentino, and Bel Air. So another great Batman run that has killer art in this. And so we all know Sorrentino's art style, just crazy. And the paneling and how everything looks just crazy, right? We're used to like all the shapes everywhere. We see it in Primordial. We saw it in Gideon Falls and other books. So just take that art style, take that coloring, take that layout, and then throw in just this gritty, kind of like a year 2, year 3 Batman kind of a story. Really reminiscent to the new Batman movie. We've seen the trailers for it. That character style is definitely here. We have some more interactions with this therapist. His therapist is kind of holding it to him that she's kind of blackmailing him. If you don't come, once a week or something like that at before dawn, I'm calling the cops and telling them who you are, because she kind of found out who he is while escaping. So we have this impersonator who's killing people dressed up like the Batman. He's trying to figure out who this person is, and so is the Gotham City Police. So there's a certain detective getting real close to Bruce. Bruce is getting real close back, and so we see this flourishing relationship between the two of them. He can't help himself, but then he kind of takes it a little bit too far. He kind of takes advantage of that situation to kind of get some more information, and she continues to keep digging as well, and they're kind of coming to the same conclusions around the same time, which I found it pretty interesting. So this book is really cool. There's a lot of interesting relationships going on here. Him and his therapist, him himself, him with the mob, with this detective and everything. It was pretty interesting, and she's kind of ready to go to war because Batman's not being painted in the brightest of lights right now. So I've really liked Imposter so far. I can't remember how many issues this is. This is issue number 2. So if you're looking for another Batman story for whatever reason, this is not a bad one to pick up. The creative team is amazing on this, and I think the story is unlike any Batman story we've seen so far. So Batman the Imposter, issue number 2. Definitely like that. The only DC book I didn't like this week that I read, and I only read those 2 so far, was The Joker number 9 from Tynan. I feel like this series is really bogging down, and I don't care about this arc at all. So we have Gordon hanging out with Vengeance, trying to get to the Joker. And Vengeance is hilarious because she's kind of programmed to be, super powerful and super angry, and she'll just kind of take care of whatever is happening. And Jim's telling her the background of him and Joker, and she's like driving and crushing the steering wheel and just getting so upset. And she's basically going to be the gun that Jim uses to kill the Joker. So it's gonna be kind of interesting when they kind of get to this situation where she can actually get this revenge, right? And so, but it doesn't play out that way. And we learn about some new characters in here that have this weird underground, human growth trafficking ring and stuff like that. And it really kind of bogs down. I didn't care about it. I wasn't interested in that whole part. The art's interesting. Again, Joker's drawn really, really menacing, and that was pretty interesting, but I just don't care about this particular arc right here, or this story that they're trying to tell in these pages here in this issue. I feel like this would have been a great 5-issue run if they really consolidated, really boiled down everything. It was just Jim, just the Joker, just the person that hired Jim. Let's flush all that out, and let's throw some betrayal in Gotham with the girl who hired him, because they teased who she was. And so I just want to hear that. I don't want to hear this other garbage. So not a big fan of the Joker. Not a big fan of this one right here. I hope it kind of picks it up. And I'm a little bit worried that, we're only going to get 3, 4, 5 more issues from Tynan, and then how much further is it going to go? I just wanted a nice boiled down, maybe 5-6 issue run with Jim and Joker and see how it played out. But it seems like we're going to be riding this one out for a little while. And this one's kind of thrown me off the rail a little bit. So not a big fan of Joker number 9 this week. And that is it for the big 2. All right. So the only indie book that I read was from Blue Juice Comics. This is Billy the Kid, number 2 from Gary McLean Jr. And I absolutely love this book. This was one of my favorite books, issue number 1 that came out a couple months ago. One of my favorite books. Here's the basic premise. The basic premise is we have these bunnies and they're like essentially humans, right? So we have this bunny family and there's this sickly bunny and the father's a priest and they're holding this big reunion and essentially this giant storm comes through and just wipes them all out, except for the sick bunny that was staying home. It turns out that this storm that came through is actually some kind of a god, and it was on a particular mission, and we kind of understand what that mission was in this issue right here. That bunny eventually kind of goes out on its own, trying to survive, trying to find family, trying to do whatever it can to stay alive, comes across what's being considered kind of a mentor character who's real rough around the edges. Reminds me of like a Mr. Miyagi meets Negan kind of a thing. And so we learn a little bit about his backstory and his abilities, and we start kind of a training montage in this one right here. I absolutely love the art. I love the style. I love the humor in this book. It is killer. If you're not getting Billy the Kid, please pick it up. It's really, really nice. It's from Blue Juice Comics. We're only in issue number 2 so far. We get some really interesting training montages here. Lots of cool action, lots of funny humor, lots of vulgar parts in the book too. So if you enjoyed reading how Negan was written, you get a lot of that in this as well. So I've never seen art like this. The paneling is extremely interesting too. And there's just enough dialogue to make you read pretty quickly through the book and enjoy the layouts and the coloring and everything. So I think it's balanced really well. And I just really, really enjoyed the story. It's just a killer surprise. This is a really, really nice surprise. Billy the Kid, issue number 2, out now. Pick it up. Not sure how many issues it's going to go, but hopefully you can still get number 1 out there. So that's what I read this week. So as always, we didn't pick up a whole lot. But as always, I'm going to go over, if you had to only pick up a couple, and I'm going to limit it to 3, just trying to keep it somewhat contained here. Billy the Kid is a must. Got to be reading that. If you're in the indies at all, and if you're into stories like God Country or something like that, that's a must. Billy the Kid is a must. I would say Robin and Batman because it's a really interesting take on an origin story for these 2 characters. Love the relationship in that book. And then I got to say the Imposter. Imposter's really great too. Loving what Tomlin and Sorrentino and Belair are doing on that book. Joker, it's bogging me down right now. I'm a little bit depressed. I don't really want to read that one. And Venom didn't hit me as hard as I was hoping it would hit, but it was still decent. So those are the books I would recommend this next week. If I can get my hands on the Diamond shipment soon, I'll do those. And maybe I'll do like a random companion video prior to the next Nick at Night, because that's going to be a crazy Friday if I stack all those books up. So down below in the comments, let me know what you picked up on the week of the 10th, what you enjoyed, any comments or questions on the books I went over in this deck here. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share, hit the thumbs up, and hit the bell notification for future videos. I appreciate it. We'll see you in the comments.